Why did we move to Texas? That is the big question that we get often.
Hey everyone, I'm Steven. This is my wife Carmen. We're the Gonzalez's, and we just wanted to share a little bit about ourselves.
Why did we move to Texas? That is the big question that we get often. When we evaluated everything financially, the reality of starting with a family size that we have, which is a family of 6, in a home where we lived in California, it would have been compromise. There would have been compromise of something because of the cost of living. We had to look at each other very seriously and evaluate, why are we fighting the fight to stay in California? And the truth is, it was just because it's all we knew, and there was fear of what we didn't know. So we had to take a trip and we had to decide, like, where do we want to move our family, because California is not going to be the place monetarily. As far as the laws go, the freedoms, it doesn't align with what we believe.
Before, I would say 5 years ago, it was easy to say, oh yeah, California's fine. You know, we like it here and we'll make do, you know, because it felt like it was still okay. But over the last, I would say definitely 2 to 3 years, it's just degraded bad. And I have a lot of dear friends and family that still live there, so I'm not trying to like talk down on where they live or anything like that. But for our family, for the way we wanted to raise our kids, I didn't like the direction that I saw a lot of things going there, with restrictions, with politics, laws, with a lot of different things that were going to affect us. The things they wanted to teach our kids at the educational level, whether it was about sexual education or about genders, it's not the state's business to be teaching my kids that. That's what mom and dad are for. The reality is that you have to make some serious amount of cash to be able to live comfortably in California. I wasn't content with like, okay, well, we could survive. I don't want to survive. I want to live. We looked at the reality is like, you know, I don't put anything past God, but the reality of where we were, and amongst all the other things that were pressing upon us, it was just like, it didn't make sense for us to stay there anymore. The events of 2020 and 2021 played a huge role because I wanted my kids to grow up in a place where they could be more free. I personally don't want my kids treated as guinea pigs. I don't want my kids, you know, having to sit inside of school for 8 hours, unable to socialize with their friends the way they were used to. What I would consider a normal,
like the education we got, where we got to some of our best friends. I mean, my cousin is his best friend, and they met in high school.
You know, and honestly, like, my kids did homeschool through Zoom. That's not an education. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was so difficult, especially for our second oldest, to stay concentrated for any length of time. It was a challenge, and I personally feel bad for any kid who still has to do that. We wanted to make change, to say, hey, let's go. And for me, as a man, as a father, I also wanted the opportunity to take my kids on a different adventure, on a journey. When my kids get older, when they get to be in their 40s like me, I don't remember but a few of the things my parents bought me. You know, maybe I remember the Nintendo or that one Christmas when they got me well, I'm still a gamer, so I definitely remember that. But I remember events. It's the memories. That's what I want to leave my kids with. And Texas, for us, provided an opportunity for us to do that. It provided more of an opportunity. It provided more freedom financially, more freedom just in general, being out in the public, for us to do that, for us to be able to give our kids memories. So with that, when they're in their 20s and their 30s and they're talking, they're like, do you remember the time when mom and dad bought a crazy amount of fireworks and we just were letting them off into the crazy hours of the night, etc., whatever the case may be, or, you know, the time when we decided to drive across different states, learning different history. Like, those are the things that Texas affords for us, and the huge reason why we moved. It's very difficult to live in a state where laws are constantly being passed that are very contrary to what you believe in all aspects of life. I am for personal freedom. I am anti-mandate anything, whether it's something medical or religious or whatever, you know.
Guns.
Guns, that's a huge one for me. I'm a big 2A proponent, you know. I think it's ridiculous that I had to go buy a gun and then wait 30 days for me to be able to take it home. And then they wanted to pass a law that I was going to have to do the same thing for ammo, pass another background check. It's like, you already gave me.
Didn't you need to have something even just to have a lower that wasn't even a function?
Yes. I went to go buy just the lower so I could build an AR. And I needed to buy a cable lock to be able to take it out of the store. They consider it the firearm, but I'm like, it's just the lower. There's nothing I can do.
There's no fire.
I guess I could chuck it at someone really hard and maybe, you know, damage them somehow, but it was just ridiculous to me. Just freedom like that, you know. And the reality was I wanted to give my kids a different mentality. We wanted to give our kids a different mentality that there's more out there.
Yeah.
You know, there's cool things you get to experience.
We were raised where we moved a lot. And so neither one of us have the home we grew up in to take our children to. Now, granted, our children might not be able to bring their children here as the home they grew up in just because we have other plans. And Texas allows for us to make those plans and it feel like it's actually reality. We love this house. It's our starter home. But there is no way, no how that we would have been able to get a nearly 2,500 square foot home, updated home in California for anything under $800,000 to $1 million.
Yeah.
And that's not what we paid for.
At least not without sacrificing location. You would have had to bid in like a shady
or every part of our income.
Just different things. And this is why in California you have so many people that a bunch of families that either live together to make work.
Both parties
are working, right? And then even then, like daycare ends up being a grandma because daycare is super expensive, or they just make a lot of money, which is good for them.
We both worked at one point when we got married, but we agreed that that's not what we wanted for our family. And there are many things that we could look back on and say we should have done that differently. Not once have we ever said we should have never had me come home. In the hard times, we wish maybe we could have handled how we handled our money differently or something like that, but never the fact of me coming home with our children to be their primary educator. There's never been any regret.
I guess at the end of the day, the purpose of this video is to encourage anyone that is stuck in a mentality that they're stuck there. There's nowhere else they can go. There's nothing else they can do. This is just life. No, it's not.
Yeah.
You can choose. You can choose to get up and go. Is it challenging? Is it difficult? Is there definitely some fear that goes along with it? Yes to all of the above. But is it doable? 100%.
So if you want to continue to see videos like this, don't forget, like, subscribe, and comment below.